Welcome to the Flight Club Podcast, a woman's guide to leaning out. We give you a behind-the-scenes look at business launch and growth through the stories of successful female entrepreneurs. Here's your host, Felina Hansen, founder and CEO of Hera Hub.
Hello and welcome. I am really looking forward to chatting with Keisha Montfleury today. She is an entrepreneur with purpose. She is currently the CEO of a 501c3 nonprofit organization and the founder of an organization called HandiWork. Both organizations' responsibility are to encourage a generation that is armed with the tools, knowledge, and resources to thrive as individuals. She hosts interactive workshops and provides resources for our girls ages 5 to 11, so they will not participate in risky behaviors such as self-harm and bullying. Keisha is an author of 3 books and workshops that are specifically designed to provide our girls with practical tips and tools. She is a speaker and a certified teen life coach. Welcome to the show today, Keisha.
Thank you so much, Felina, for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm excited to share your story. You are doing some incredible work. This is such an important age group to really make sure that we're connecting with these young women and as you said, kind of sidetrack them from some of the things that happen, especially as girls get closer to their teen years.
Yes.
So before we dive into the organizations that you founded and lead, take us back. Where are you from? Talk a bit about education, early career path, all that good stuff.
Yes, of course, I would love to. Well, like you said, my name is Keisha Montfleury, and I was born and raised in Southern California. This is my hometown. This is where I'm at, and this is where I see myself being. But from a very young age, I always had the heart to be able to help others. So I grew up wanting to be a teacher, actually. So I went to school, got my degree and was specifically about to get my degree in teaching. But unfortunately, when I went to go do some of the observations in the classrooms, I was sidetracked a little bit, and I didn't see the passion that those specific teachers had in their classrooms. And it made me just ponder a little bit upon my choice of what I was doing. I knew I wanted to work with our youth. I just didn't understand exactly what that would look like. So I was taking child development courses and just fell in love with the social emotional development of our youth. And it's something that since I've been exposed to that and the importance of that, I ended up getting my degree in child and human development. And it's just been a whirlwind from there. Since that experience, I have gotten my bachelor's degree. I have a program director permit for the state of California, specifically for the child development fields. I have over 16, 17 years experience working with our families in the community, and being a center director for before and after school programs. So all of my experience, all of my passions go into the healthy development of our youth and of course their families.
Amazing. Thank you for doing very, very important work. Talk about some of the shift that you made throughout your career, Keisha, towards independent ventures, right?
Yes.
Becoming an author. You've written 3 books. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. How did that, sounds like it was a natural progression from what you were seeing. But for a lot of folks, the theme of this podcast is that kind of lean out moment, right?
Yes.
It's like you're in the system, you're doing the thing. It's like, what is that spark to branch out on your own and talk about how that felt for you?
It's so funny that you asked that, because as I was just reflecting recently, actually on some of the things that have led me to entrepreneurship, I had no what's the word? I did not want to go into entrepreneurship. It was not something that I was naturally like, oh, okay, I want to do this. But what I did have was any position or any job that I did go to or get into, I did want to make sure that I was supervisor. So I would go into whatever position that I was in, and I would make sure that I am growing and just having a plan to see what that looks like. So leadership positions were always something that I was drawn to and something that I was committed to doing in any position, any environment that I was in. So you cup that with the experience that the unfortunate experience that I had. Well, we can say fortunate and unfortunate, because if it didn't happen in the way that it happened, then I wouldn't be in the space that I'm at now. So I participated in an unhealthy relationship, an unhealthy marriage, and coming out of that marriage, I have three beautiful children, and working in the field that I was working in, I got to take a look to see, I was firsthand to see the experiences that the kids were going through, right? I got to see them for who they are, and having the background of child development, human development, I got to really realize and notice the impact that in all aspects that can happen in a child's life, school, the home life, even after school programs, so it just became super clear to me coming out of that relationship. So when I was able to get out of that, then I decided to not only take it one step further and not only just be the supervisor that the child development center needed me to be, and not be the mom that I need to be for my children, but I would just like, we have to do something for our youth to be able to just plant the seeds of encouragement for them to be able to know that they have a purpose, they have a purpose on this earth, and they have things that they were meant to do. So it just stemmed from the experience of child development, leadership capabilities and abilities, and the experience that I had in my personal life. You cup that together, and the passion that came along with just making sure that our youth have the tools that they're needed, that they're equipped with what they're needing to be able to be the most healthiest version of themselves. So it didn't start off as wanting to be an entrepreneur, no.
Oh, well, as a natural born leader, obviously, I'm glad that your path led there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the book series, Blueprint to Self-Esteem.
Yes.
3 books.
Yes.
So really designed for, again, that same age group, girls 5 to 11, and really focusing on having, from what I've seen in the description, healthy confidence.
Yes.
I want to mention, I'm so passionate about this topic, so I'm so excited to talk about it. Yeah. Yes. I had read a book a while ago, and they've now come out with a version for kids too called The Confidence Code. And it is very perplexing to me because I don't, I'm not in the world of children as much as I'm in the world of women and adults. And to see the outcomes, from childhood as I support female entrepreneurs, the lack of confidence is, I always routinely say when I'm asked in a media interview or a panel, what's holding women back? Is it access to capital? Yes, that's part of it. But a lot of times it's confidence, and it's what you are doing is in tackling it at the right age, right? So we don't grow these young women into, adult women who really are lacking that confidence. What are some of the key principles, Keisha, that you outline in your book to build that healthy confidence?
Yes. So like I said, these questions, I can go on forever, so I'll try to keep it at a very minimum. But when we're talking about confidence for us and our organization, we're talking about healthy confidence. That's one thing that I love to explain to our girls, and why it's very important that we, because people ask all the time, well, why so young? Like, how can you show a girl about healthy confidence at that age? But just being, having the child development background that I do have, want to get them as young as possible. So if we start showing them these keys and showing them these skills and the foundation of not just any confidence, not just arrogance, not just low self-esteem, because that can be a very dangerous place that our girls can be in when she's feeling, when she has lack of confidence or when she's having low self-esteem. Um, but we want to show her what those practical skills and tools look like to have a healthy confidence. And for us, it's based off of 5 keys or 5 foundations. And number one is purpose, is knowing that we have gifts, knowing that we have skills and we have talents. And how we show our girls that is we ask her things that she's interested in, what kind of skills does she have, and then we really dig in and we support her in that. Number two is self care. And it's something that I call ooh la la, which is taking care of our shells, right? Want to make sure that we're not only, walking into our purpose and doing the things that we've been called to do, but we do want to look good while we're doing that. So it's very important for our girls to know that, yes, we don't want to be conceited with the way that we look. We don't want to obsess about it, but we do want to care for ourselves. We want to practice personal hygiene. We want to, try new hairstyles, different things like that. Key number 3 is journey, is letting them know that we're all on a journey, but it melts into something else, and it challenges our girls to know the importance of exercising our bodies and the importance of the desire to travel outside of your norms. Whenever you're traveling, you're experiencing new things, you're meeting new people, you're trying new foods. And I think that when you're able to do that and be in that space, your perspective changes and you become a more well-rounded person. Key number 4 is health and nutrition. And what that means is just for us to be mindful with the things that we're putting inside of our bodies. And then key number 5 is invest. And a lot of people think that I'm talking about money. And yes, being good stewards with the money that we have and that we have access to is very important. That is a part of it. But another way of investing is how we're investing our time, while we volunteering our time with things that are important to us, family, friends. What does that look like for us? So I believe that if we're planting these seeds of encouragement into our girls as young as we can get them, they'll start to practice these things, and it won't be so hard as a woman that is going into business, that is going into these leadership roles, to be able to have the confidence that she's needing to be able to live out what she's been called to do.
I love it. I love it. I want to dive into a couple things that you talked about there. I love all of it, but the piece that really stood out to me as you were talking about these 5 keys is that you called it journey or travel or exploration, having new perspectives, understanding maybe different cultures, different ways of living, is so, so important. And I know for myself was a big part of, making me who I am, the adult that I am, rather. One thing, and maybe it plays into this, I'm not sure, but I'd love your perspective on this, Keisha. I've done some mentoring through an organization called Girls Rising and a few other organizations, mostly in the teens, as opposed to the younger young women. But I do see this in even, girls 5 to 10 years old too. The level of anxiety and the discussion around it, right? I mean, most young women I meet will say, fairly early on the conversation, I have anxiety. And what is going on in your perspective in our world? I mean, you've been so close with this group for so long. What are the changes? Because I, as a young woman, I don't remember feeling anxious, or maybe we just didn't talk about it, but is it the oversaturation of social media and everybody looking out versus kind of looking in?
Yeah, that's so funny that you bring that, because that's one of the first things that come to mind, is not only social media, but media generally, period, because we're being consumed with all these things, right? And then you bring the recent pandemic, and we were basically locked in for a full year, and these are there's different images and different things that our children are exposed to on a daily basis. And when I mean exposed, I'm just meaning cartoons and the things that they're watching or the shows that they're watching. So when you are constantly taking in these things and you feel like you do not add up to that, or like you're looking at that as mentorship, as mentorship, you're looking at the media, you're looking at social media, to be able to see what a confident girl looks like, then you start to take on those characteristics. And the reality is that that's an image that's being portrayed. And when you're trying to portray that in your real life, you see that it doesn't, that's not the reality of things. And then it starts to make you anxious because you feel like you're not living up, or you're not, you will never be enough for what's out there. So that's why, like I said, it's very important, where I come in. There's a lot of organizations that will cater to our teen girls, and we definitely need it, or our high school girls, we definitely need it. But it's very important for us to be able to pour into our young girls, so that, like I said, as they're getting older, they're practicing these skills and they're able to recognize these things so they can combat against it.
So important. I mean, the media, just like you said, across the board, it reminds me of a movie that came out about 10 years ago called Misrepresentation. Did that ever come across your radar?
No, I haven't heard of that.
It's so good, Keisha. You have to see that movie. I'll send you a link after.
Definitely. Thank you.
It's really good. It talks very much about how the media portrays women, and it was produced well before social media was as big as it is now.
Yeah.
And, women in politics, women in, just all sectors. So, I would imagine it's a big part of it too. Yeah. So I could go on forever about this too, right? I mean, we'd be here all day. But, so what do you advise young women? Is it, conscious consumption of media? Like, how do you have that conversation with them?
Yeah, I think that definitely going back to the foundation of practicing these skills. When we talk about the foundation of confidence for us, right? We're talking about purpose, self-care, journey, health and nutrition, and invest. And I just believe that when you're practicing these skills, and practice, I always tell the girls, you're not going to wake up every day talking about, how can I have a healthy confidence today? No, that's not how it works. There's some intentionality that needs to go along with it. There's some mindfulness that goes along with it. So whenever we are doing that, there is some practice that needs to be taken along with that. And like I was saying, when you're practicing those specific skills, I think just in general, whether you're a boy, girl, man, woman, that these skills are just very important for us to be able to practice as a human being, so that we're able to live out the most healthiest, confident version of ourselves. But it comes along also too with the people that we have in our lives, the examples that we're seeing, mentorship, whatever that might look like, different programs and organizations, for us to be able to actually see these things. And then this will entice us and help us be able to make it a little bit more easier for us to be able to fall into the importance of why these things matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to make sure we have some time to talk about your organizations. And we were talking before the show a bit about so Abundantly Authentic and HandiWork, and there may be some blending going on there. So what are you up to now?
Yeah, definitely. So Abundantly Authentic, the organization is a faith-based organization, and that's just how I got started. I just started doing workshops for girls and moms with no intent to be able to start a business. So then, as I was going into it was growing a little bit, and I was having people asking me about the workshops, and working in the school system, I started to ask the school district where I'm from how I'm able to run the program. Now, there were some limitations on what I can do. So that is where HandiWork came in, and HandiWork is more community based, is focused on that. And I just would like to share really quick, because a lot of people ask like, well, why handiwork? Why that word? Or what is that? But handiwork means something that one has made or done. And some of the synonyms include creation, achievement, design. And the whole focus of handiwork and this purpose is that we just believe that it's going to take teamwork as parents, as educators and mentors to be able to create an environment where our girls can achieve what she was designed to do in this world. So we just want to act as a preventative measure for our girls. And we just believe that it's our responsibility to encourage a generation that is armed with the tools, the knowledge, and the strategies to thrive as individuals. So that's where handiwork stem from. I know that's a lot in that little word, but that's where it stemmed from. And that's just what we aim to do, is to be able to make those changes in our girls so that we're growing a generation of girls that will be making decisions, and we want her to be able to have the confidence to be able to make sound decisions.
Great. Well, what's on the horizon?
Yes,
you've been doing this amazing work for quite some time. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, actually, I'm so glad that you asked that at this time right now, because I do have the nonprofit and the for-profit, and they both are catered to our young girls. A lot of people get confused. So we're in the process right now of rebranding HandiWork and Abundantly Authentic, just to make sure that, yes, we're both organizations, foundation is to be able to work with our young girls, but there is a little bit of a difference. Like I said, one is more community-based, which is HandiWork, where I go out in the schools, do workshops for the city and different places like that. So we are rebranding. We just got a new logo, took some pictures with some awesome girls. So you could definitely check out check out what we have going on, and just kind of get a little back history and of what I do, why I do it, why I'm so passionate about it, and what handiwork even means, and how we're able to give back to your community in the way that we feel led to.
That's great. Any thoughts about expanding this, or maybe you already have, Keisha, outside of Southern California?
I have, as a business owner, you have goals, you have dreams, you have visions. And I do picture ourselves working and doing workshops outside of, like you said, Southern California, in different states and different cities. So that is some of the places I do in the back of my mind. And, I have my list going with just different places that I'm able to have access to be able to do interactive workshops. So yes.
Yes. Awesome. So Keisha, if our listeners want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yes, the best way to find me is on my website at KeishaMontfleury.com. It's simple, but it's not, because the name the name Montfleury can be a little bit challenging. But if you guys will have access to that. So, but yes, it's just my name, KeishaMontfleury.com, and you're able to find everything that we have going on, all the programs and different things that'll be happening in the near future.
Well, you have a beautiful name. I like your full name, and especially your last name. So, well, Keisha, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining this week's episode of Flight Club, sponsored by Hera Hub. We look forward to sharing more success stories with you soon.